Hey, welcome to Pint of No Return Show, Season 1, Episode 28 for September 18th, 2014.
Upside down. Well, pull up a chair and then pull your pants down because it's the Pint of No Return Show. And we're coming here to bring you beer and always bend your ear. That's right. Bend your ear. It's
Never
the
fear.
Never Fear. That's right. This is episode 28. I was doing it. I was acting out your bumper music. What are you doing?
Sorry, here, we'll go.
All right. What you need to work on right now is some Braveheart music because we're going to be talking about Scotland later. Give me some William Wallace clips. That's what I need. So work on that while we're talking. Hi, everybody. We are coming to you live from California, New York, and Texas. Live in the sense that it's being recorded live and being listened to you at some point in the near future. So as much as that's live. How are you guys doing?
Awesome.
Jeremy's awesome tonight. Yeah.
Awesome.
Jeremy is awesome. We've Keith's playing with some background music with the bumpers, and
Whatever.
maybe he needs to play with a bit of the volume there. So, guys, we are coming to the end of summer, and I, for one, am very excited because fall is my favorite season of the year. Favorite.
Wait, summer just started here.
Yeah. It just finally got nice.
I thought in the drought you were like in perpetual summer.
We're in the Bay Area. We get a lot of fog in the summer. We just don't get rain.
We've gotten 4 inches of rain in the last 2 days, so you're welcome.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's build a pipeline.
The pipeline for water.
But Texas is below you. It just goes downhill to Mexico.
Pumps.
And they can be
repurpose all those old Texas oil pumps.
We need to ship you some equipment out there so you can start fracking some water.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah, good fracked water.
Well, nothing better than some good fracking.
Listen, I am all in favor, not to be political. I am all in favor of using the word frack whenever we can, simply because I love Battlestar Galactica so much.
I hate the way they co-opted that word from Battlestar Galactica into some heinous.
Well, it's short
for getting oil.
Short for fracturing, right?
Yeah, but still, they kind of ruined it for me.
I mean, I was personally loving being able to say frack in any kind of social situation, and people just thinking I'm being obtuse. Yeah.
I think it's for natural gas, not oil, but.
It is for oil. It started as oil.
Not in New York, it's not.
That's okay. This isn't the Pint of Hydrocarbon Return Show.
All right, it's the Pint of No Return Show, and here on the Pint of No Return Show, we talk about beer. And we have been enjoying, at least talking about, maybe not so much drinking, but we've been enjoying talking about many of the New York beers that our buddy Keith has sent us. And we're coming around the bend down the home stretch. Not quite finished yet, but we're getting there. We've going to center in on 2 Ithica brews tonight. We've got Cascazilla, which is a red IPA, and we have also got an apricot wheat. Now, for those of you who are just catching on to the show, first of all, what the heck's your problem? And secondly, Ithica is a little town in the southern central part of the state. at the bottom of what we call the Finger Lakes. And they've got some breweries down there, Ithica Beer being one of them. And I guess we're going to start tonight with the apricot wheat. I think Jeremy wanted to start with that one because it's a little bit lighter in flavor.
Yep.
And Keith, what do we got? Tell us about the apricot wheat.
Well, it's a wheat beer.
And it's apricot.
And they put apricots in it.
Yeah. All right.
Succinct.
Ithaca has been around as a college town in New York forever, but in New York winter fashion, if you're a little town in the middle of nowhere, there ain't nothing to do in the middle of winter. So the Ithica Beer Company was born, and they've been doing craft beer since long before it was called craft beer, and doing pretty well of it. I kind of switched us up from last week to this week, going from Saranac to Ithaca, because I was a little tired of the unpredictability of the Saranac. So I've called an audible and said, no, we need some good beers this week. So we're going to grab these two.
I'm looking forward to that Cascazilla. So.
And lots of smart people in Ithaca. That's the location of Cornell University, one of those lovely Ivy League schools.
Actually, Cornell would be in Cornell.
Well, Cornell's near Ithaca, is it not?
It's a few hours away.
Okay.
It's closer than I am.
It's a lot closer than any of you, really. But yes.
So
they're separate areas.
So it looks like a year-round beer, 4.9%.
That's
what their website says.
Yeah, no, they do brew this year-round. You can get this just about any time. They put it in their summer pack because it's a good summer beer, but it's also a good anytime beer.
Yeah, it's listed on their website as a year-rounder.
Yeah, it is a year-round. I think both this and the Cascazilla are. So.
All right. Only one variety of hops in this, but I guess that's because it's got apricots to make up for it.
Okay, I just wanted to let you know that Ithaca College Cornell is in Ithaca, just so everybody knows. I was right about that.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
Ithaca.
Sounds good.
Location of Cornell.
Open your damn bottle.
God, that almost smells like a white wine.
It does.
It's very.
Woo!
It smells like a Chardonnay.
Very bright.
It smells like one of those scratch and sniff stickers from the 80s.
Maybe if you're in wine country, then white wine Chardonnays smell like apricots. But by the time they get bottled and sent out to New York, they don't smell quite this fruity.
Very fruity.
Yeah, this is, and it's got a big head that goes away fast.
It's got that kind of a head you'd get with a like a hard cider.
Yeah.
That very foamy, big bubbly head. And wow, really got that good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the scent is overpowering, but you know what it does? It doesn't smell artificial at all. You can tell they used actual apricots to make this. So there's the head that everybody's talking about. Look at that animal right there. The beer itself, fairly clear, a little cloudy.
Yeah.
Kind of a light and amber color, dark gold color.
Oh, it smells really good. Can't wait.
You can. I almost want a candle that smells like apricot wheat.
Mine's got a bit of haze in it. I mean, I guess
it's got a little bit, not a lot.
It's a wheat beer, so it should have some amount of haze.
Yeah, and it looks like a wheat beer. It's not a clear. Some wheat beers have that crystal clear fake look.
No. That's
all right.
Should be unfiltered always with a wheat.
Looks and smells delightful, shall we?
We shall.
Do it.
Beer number one, apricot wheat by the Ithaca Brewing Company, home of Cornell.
In New York.
Rust.
I like that few seconds of silence that always follows the first drink. Wow.
Oh my. Okay. Who wants first crack?
I'll take it.
All right, Jeremy.
Very strong apricot scent. The and a real apricot nose, not artificial flavor apricot. It smells like fruit. The flavor though is, and it doesn't live up to the aroma to me. It has a nice amount of carbonation, but the flavor kind of disappears, and the finish is very boring to me. But it sure smells good. I'll give it a 6.
Oh, that's good. Well, I don't. I'm not a huge fan of apricots in general. They're not a fruit that I eat ever. So I wasn't actually looking forward to this beer all that much because of that. But I do really like the aroma. I mean, it does smell, a lot like a wine, which isn't a bad thing. It's good. But I do agree with Jeremy that the sensation of apricot and fruit is really all in the nose, and there's not much in the flavor. To me, it just tastes like a wheat beer. It's kind of got a little bit of a fruity flavor on the back. It's a little bit tangy on the tongue. It's got nice fine bubbles, kind of more the champagne-y type bubbles as opposed to like a soda. But I'm actually pleasantly surprised in this beer for something that I wasn't all that excited about. It's actually, to me, a really tasty beer, and I can see why they would call this a summer beer and put it in their summer pack, because it's a perfect summer beer, I think, if you want to change things up and go with maybe something a little bit different. So I'm actually going to give it an 8 because I actually really am enjoying it.
An 8 for a wheat beer. What are we coming to? Sure. Thank God for apricot wheat to wash the taste of the Saranac brews from my lips. This is really delightful. I'm really happy with it. I'm also not a huge fan of apricots or peaches, those kinds of plums. I am not a big fan of those pitted fruits.
Fruits, as it were.
Yeah, but the sweetness of the apricot and a little bit of tangy combines really well with the wheat, and it's got a very nice, very strong aftertaste, and that wheat just kind of you get all that fruit up front, and then it blends with the wheat taste, and then you're left with that nice hearty wheat on the end, and it to me it feels blended pretty nicely, and there are some subtle layers in there that I wasn't expecting too much of with a simpler beer. But I'm really digging it. I'm with Gary on it being refreshing and a really good summer beer. Yeah, the last few weeks, Gary and I have really been gelling on our picks.
Which means it's almost the end of the world.
Yeah, well, I mean,
possibly.
Yeah, read a newspaper.
I dare you to gel on the next one.
I'm foreshadowing. I'm going to give this an 8 as well.
Wow. Really good.
I think Jeremy's comments are good, but I think what happens with this beer is it just has such a huge nose, especially for a beer. Beers, even fruit beers, don't have this much aroma as when you pop the cap off of one of these things, and it smells so good and is so inviting, like a warm apricot pie or peach pie or something, that you want that to come through in the beer. But I'm actually glad it doesn't, because fruit beers that are so syrupy or heavy on the fruit are just not satisfying to me. They're not thirst quenching. So what they have is they have this wonderful nose that just makes everybody want to drink the beer. But then the beer is more subtle and more mild than the nose by quite a bit. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a really good thing. I think they backed off just enough. I think the apricot flavor is there, but it doesn't dominate over the wheat beer. The wheat beer pulls its own weight too. So I think it's really pretty well balanced, and I would agree with both Rob and Gary and give this an 8.
It rounds up to a 7.5.
Wow.
That is certainly much better than the Saranac beers did.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, the last Ithaca we did was an 8. So
Yeah, the cruiser.
Good stuff from the Ithaca folks.
Ithaca doesn't brew a bad beer. Not that I found yet.
I like the nice dry, almost sweet finish to this. I mean, dry and sweet aren't this, but you get a little bit of both. At the end.
No, you're right. Because you get the dry finish that almost leaves you a little bit thirsty, but there's a sweetness that's left in your mouth from the apricot.
Yeah.
So I think it's an apt description. It just.
But from that
It's
sweet,
somewhat
from that
contradictory.
sweet nose, that fruity scent that you get at the beginning, it's far less sweeter than you think.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Is it's so much drier and milder than that nose.
Which is great. I mean, that's really that's something you can't just manufacture with a apricot syrup or some kind of flavoring.
Yeah.
So really good. All right, let's go down the red IPA path, folks. Cascazilla. What can anyone give me some kind of background on this name?
So according to their website, it's a play on the name of a gorge in Ithaca called Cascadilla, and the monster amounts of Cascade hops that are used to make the beer. Hence,
Oh Lord.
and we know that hops are
Ridiculous
Rob's
amount of
favorite
hop.
thing on earth.
Hops are my kryptonite.
Which is odd for
Yeah, it is odd.
Odd for what?
a beer guy.
A beer guy.
Yeah.
So Cascade, Chinook, and Amarillo are the hops, and then they dry hop it with Cascade and Amarillo.
Which sounds awesome to me.
Yeah. I mean, red ales or
Oh,
red
yeah.
red IPAs are something that I have really been enjoying lately. So that's why I've been looking forward to this. It's
Hops.
almost my go-to beer right now is any kind of red IPA.
The hops almost literally pushed the bottle cap off of the bottle.
Oh yeah.
Peace. Whoa.
Yeah, there's a little bit of nose on this too,
Look at that.
but it's much different.
Okay,
You
so they
smell
the,
those Cascade hops so much.
the Cascade hops, at least from my vantage point, are that more floral hoppy aroma than opposed to the citrusy.
I think they do a pretty good job of both.
Look at the head I
There's
got.
a little citrus in there. Wow, that's awesome, Gary.
Oh, and I got a new glass too. Look at that. See? I got the fancy IPA glass.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take it out of the bottle.
No, dude, that's so wrong. He doesn't get it.
You're not even giving it a chance, Rob.
Yeah,
There's a chance to open up. There's a chance.
You're gonna be surprised. You have had an IPA that you like, so I think
Rob's
that
gonna hate
this-
it either way.
No, he occasionally will like an IPA.
I just
All
want
right.
to smell it all night.
I love being that
I
wild
know.
card.
So 7%. It is year round.
Yes.
Sounds delicious. It smells delicious. I love the red IPA. They have that different, distinct aroma. So
Well, that's what Nugget Nectar is too. Really, they call
Yeah.
it an ultra hopped amber, but it's really a red IPA.
yeah. All right, here
All right.
You ready,
Thumbs
Rob?
up, gang.
we go.
Rob, your face is priceless.
Delicious. So I have to actually taste it, right? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it would be nice.
Mm.
We're gonna make Rob go first, or do you want him to go last? Probably want him to go last, since his reviews are typically best when they are reviews of IPAs.
All right. Let me go first then. And we'll let you California guys judge it based on all the awesome hoppy beers you guys get. I like this beer a lot. I find it, for a red IPA, I find it very approachable. That being said, it kind of is also a little lacking something to me. It has the middle, I guess, is missing that I like to get in my my double IPAs and my big hoppy beers. It just seems to, I don't know. There's a good beginning and there's a good finish, and the middle is just not there on the Cascazilla. But that being said, it's really approachable. It's not nearly as bitter as it smells. Much like the apricot wheat, it kind of mellows out a little bit for the beer itself, which isn't a bad thing. It's sure never, though, I don't know if there's a good thing or not, it doesn't taste like 9% to me. It tastes like a pale ale.
No, it's only 7.
Oh, 7. Well, still, it tastes around 5, but it definitely a great beer, but not what I really want it to live up to. You know, I really want them to kick Cascazilla into overdrive and really build up that middle, get that rich buttery middle to go in there with all those hops. And it doesn't quite live up to that for me. So I give it a 7.
I agree with you on the nose and the finish. It smells really good. A lot of hop aroma coming off of it, and a nice bitter finish. But the middle is a little almost watery.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a lot of body, not a lot of mouthfeel, but still a good flavor.
It does connect the beginning to the end. That's about all I can give that middle.
Yeah, it makes you want to keep drinking it. Not really a sipping and enjoying beer. It's a big swallows and swallow some more beer. But that said, it's pretty good. So we don't do half points. So I'm going to go. I'll go with you on a 7 on this beer.
Yeah, it's kind of torn between 6 and 7.
Yeah, I was torn kind of between a 7 and 8. I would give it a 7.5 if we did halves, but we don't. So I'm going to go with a 7. It's great. I'd love to try this on tap, maybe on nitro even, and maybe get a kind of a smoother mouthfeel out of it. But yeah, I think it's a good beer.
I'd really like to see them kick this up to a double, because I think that's what I'm missing.
Maybe a little more malty flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say this would probably do really well as a double. But it's almost, to me, a little deceiving, because the aroma is so much more than the flavor of the beer. And I mean, to me, this has a little bit of a disadvantage, because I've had a few really good red IPAs lately. One from up in Bend called Chingadera. That was just phenomenal. One of the best beers I've had. And then Lagunitas right now is brewing an Imperial Red. And anything Lagunitas has a lot of hops in it, so that's really good.
Remember, I sent you guys a red from Rochester called Loopy, I think last winter. That was a red IPA. And that is kind of where I think this should go, and that was a double and stuff. So it had that rich middle.
But this is good. I mean, it is a good, solid beer. It's kind of what is lacking in the middle is the redness, or those flavors that you get out of a red IPA. They're almost like kind of going into a Scotch ale, almost kind of flavor that you get in that middle that it doesn't have. Yeah, it doesn't have the maltiness and the flavor. It's got all the hop aroma of an IPA and a little bit of that bitter finish of an IPA, but it's got the red color. I mean, the color looks great. But the flavor's just not there. So I'm actually going to just go right in line with you guys and give it a 7. I mean, it is good. It is a very, it's a very tasty beer, but it does have just a little bit of lacking in the flavor in the middle.
It's not often we're all disappointed to give it a 7.
Yeah.
All right, Rob, what do you think?
Can I have some music, please?
Sure. Sure. What kind of
Happy
music do you
or
want?
dramatic or?
Dramatic would be great.
Okay.
Just give me yeah, I'm sorry. No. Do you have anything a little more on the sadder side? No.
No.
That's not bad. Just turn that down a little bit. Okay, perfect. Now stop it and then restart it. And I'll yeah. Okay. Great man once said, "This beer is lacking something." And that man was right. This beer is lacking any sense of humanity. This beer is lacking any sense of good taste, any sense of style, any sense of theme music. This beer,
Instantly funky.
in my humble opinion, sucks. Well, let me just tell you. Okay, you can stop the music.
I like this.
It started to sound.
Okay, you can. Generally, when I have an IPA on the show, and I have had some IPAs that I've enjoyed.
I think just one.
Generally, yeah, there's been a couple actually. At least. Generally, there has been something there for me to grab onto, something there for me to look over. It's the hops that really always kill me with an IPA, as you know. So, but there's always been some kind of flavor profile, as the chefs say, that has me saying at least there's some kind of cohesive structure, some kind of theme. But in this one, basically, I'm tasting what Keith's tasting, but what he's tasting and what I'm tasting is just completely opposite in terms of overall rating, because all I taste is hops. That's it, just hops. And if all you're going to give me are hops, then all you're going to get is a 1.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
See,
bad.
there are.
It's
there are
like
I knew it was going to be bad, but
this
ow.
is Pliny bad.
Oh, it's nothing like a Pliny. It's not
no,
even.
it is
that.
no. It's not. It's not in the same.
Even as a bad
Pliny.
rating, that's insulting to a planet.
I'm going to give this
Yeah.
beer 4 Plinies.
No, this is
2
way better.
Plinies down.
Oh.
This beer can suck my Pliny. All right.
Wow.
Wow.
It's bad. Not
So
good.
what's that
okay.
give us, Gary?
Well, if you take out Rob's score, it's a 7.
We do not take out my score on this show.
Well, I think we should drop the Russian judge.
Yeah, it's
As a
the
matter of-
5.5, 5.5. So
I almost feel like after that description, I should up it to like a 15.
Yeah.
it is not.
See, these 3 guys are eventually going to figure out, at some point, just between me and you and the audience, they're going to figure out at some point that when they have these IPAs, that they're going to have to start deliberately marking them higher than
I'm thinking we should send an IPA, but put a new label on it that says Kolsch or Pilsner, and see what Rob rates it.
Just see if we can get a placebo effect going.
3
Yeah.
or 4 years ago, that might have worked, but Keith can tell you now that my palate has developed enough that I know an IPA when I have one.
Well, you know what?
I'm
If we,
just,
if we,
I
if we
just
label
am not
one,
feeling that bitterness.
if we label one Miller Chill, we might sneak it by him.
No, because Miller Chill suck too.
Oh man, this is.
They don't suck. Pliny suck.
I can't believe you're not getting the malt flavor. There is some malt flavor there. You're not getting any of that. You just can't. You're blinded by the hops.
The hops are basically mass murdering the
Just
malt.
overpowers it for you, huh?
See, to me, it's got that's a good red IPA has a really nice blend of the hops and the malts, where you get both
And
at different times.
And if I didn't have some other good reds, I would have probably judged this higher. But the fact that I have, and that's what I'm looking for. That's what I was saying. I was missing in the middle is that malty flavor, that, like you said, Scotch ale kind of malty richness that should come in between the hops that hit your tongue and then the hops that finish it. You should have that malty middle in there, and it just doesn't have that, which is why the three of us are disappointed to give it a 7. And Rob is pleased to give it a 1.
I don't know. It's certainly well, whatever. Let Rob do his thing.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not agreeing with Rob.
Go ahead and say what you want to say, Gary. Go ahead and say what you want to say.
I'm saying that it's been a half hour and we drink a lot of beer, so it's time to do it.
That's the way to stick it to the man.
We did establish on the show a while back. I don't know if it was on this or on Happy Time Magic Hour that we believe Rob is what's known as a super taster, and he tastes the bitterness of things at a level that's way beyond what. Well, it's his superpower, really.
So
He can
I
taste
see that
bitterness
because
on a level.
I did take the super taster test.
it definitely has a bitterness. So if I'm tasting a lot of bitterness, probably to a super taster or a stupid taster, it's really
Now,
overwhelming.
gentlemen of the podcast audience, I will. If you've been listening long enough, we've done plenty of IPAs on this show.
That's true.
Many, many, many IPAs in this show. And you have heard me on more than one occasion. Not only when I have liked IPAs, when there have been a couple or few, but even in the times that I haven't, I have said I can see what they're going for.
Yeah.
I can understand what they're trying to do.
Normally give it a 1.
Higher.
Yeah.
For those reasons.
Rob's bad IPA score is normally in the 2 to 4 range.
Right. Yeah.
Well, okay. Let's
surprise
I'm looking at the beer list right now. We had an Imperial Red Ale going way back to last year that we gave it 9s and 8s, except Rob gave it a 3.
Which one was that?
That was the Great Lakes Nosferatu.
Oh, and that was a strong.
That was a good beer.
Yeah.
Although that did have a lot more malt than bitter, and this is more bitter than malt.
Bring back the Nosferatu, please.
And then the next week, the very next week, we did. Well, actually, the next show wasn't the next week because it was Thanksgiving. We did the 2X IPA from Southern Tier, another New York brewery, right? They're New York, right? Yeah. And actually, Rob gave that one an 8.
Thank you.
Every other IPA, we haven't done very many IPAs. Oh no, he did. The Unsacred Unfaithful IPA, he gave a 5. So.
Thank you.
Well, that was a Utah beer. That didn't count.
Yeah, that was kind of
those Utah beers were nerfed a bit.
Yeah, it was kind of a close one.
Although, as I taste this, there is a lot more hop and bitter flavor than balanced malt. So I can see where Rob is going with his. Oh, but still a 1.
Well, and that's exactly what I said too. Is there's definitely the middle of it, the malt of it is missing. So I see where he's at too. But you know.
Still,
it's definitely
it's the one that's just it just kind of took a little bit of our heart out, Rob. It just
I mean I thought at least
for you to give in 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s. You know, we understand that stuff. It means you're human, and a 1 though it's just a little bit painful for us.
I think that
all three of them have said. They know where I'm coming from, and they understand why I say what I'm saying. I'm telling you, I'm creating it honestly. If it was any kind of a decent IPA, maybe yes, with some malts or some kind of a flavoring throw it in, I'd be up in the 5 or 6 range. But if all I'm getting is hops, there's no way I'm giving it a good grade.
Yeah, and I think that's the lacking part of it that the other 3 of us had, which is it was kind of lacking that more malty ale flavoring.
We definitely wanted to see that.
Yeah.
But for us, it was the difference between really good beer and a great beer.
Right.
For Rob, it was the difference between beer and something he pours down the drain.
Yeah. Which, okay, whatever. He's got his issues. We'll move on.
All right, so we'll leave behind the IPA and go into something much more interesting. That being, Ethan, you ready?
You know
Ready.
what?
For what?
Before we go ahead,
That's all right.
Do the bumper. Do the bumper.
I don't have bumpers this week.
Okay, so
I told you that.
audience,
iOS killed bumper music.
Jeremy's
So
the bumper.
for the audience, picture a bumper music here and into the pint taking. Today, cyclist Jens Voigt set a new hour record. So the hour record is how far can you ride a bike on a track in 1 hour? And the previous record stood since 2005. Jens Voigt today rode 51.115 kilometers in an hour.
Wow.
And for those of us who are
That's a
metric
lot
challenged,
of speed for a bike.
31.7 miles. That means for an hour, he maintained almost 32 miles an hour consistently for an hour.
Holy crap!
Really?
But did he do it while drinking a beer every lap?
Well, that's the beer mile.
No, because
That's our
this
beer mile.
was kind of a sissy event.
Yeah.
But yeah, still amazing. Really, it was incredible to watch. So that was my that's my contribution to the pint taken topics.
If you've been on a bike traveling in excess of 30 miles an hour, that's a scary feeling. I mean, I've done it a couple of times going downhill. And
exactly, downhill.
Absolutely.
Yeah, downhill with the tailwind. And that's fast on a bike. And to sustain that for an hour, oh man, I don't even want to do that. I don't even think about trying that.
And what was amazing is that at the end of that hour, about the last 5 minutes, he actually accelerated and was going faster. So we'll link to the video. You can watch that if you have the desire. That'll be in the show notes. But congratulations, Jens Voigt. Good job.
That's an accomplishment.
This Breaking Our podcast brought to you from Schwinn.
He is 43 years old.
Okay. How many? 40 what?
43.
Damn. Almost as old.
And this is his retirement. So he's going out with a bang.
Yeah, no kidding.
The other thing more exciting to Rob than hops is bicycle riding.
Next.
We actually have. I mean, it's not very often during the show that breaking news happens while we're recording the show. But let's put that aside and talk about bicycles for a little bit. We have got a vote for independence happening right now. The results are being tabulated. That's right. Scotland has put forth a separation initiative to split off from England. Their vote was today. Now,
they're splitting off from the United Kingdom, not from England.
That's a good point.
There's a subtle difference there.
Subtle difference.
Yeah, between the United Kingdom and England.
If Scotland splits off from the United Kingdom, what would be left? England and Wales, right? Thank you.
And Northern Ireland.
Okay. Anyway, so today they had their vote, and there are reports of 90. It's just Ireland.
Okay. Just checking. I thought it maybe fell into the ocean.
You know, there's a beer topic coming up, so if you wanted me to feign any kind of interest at all, you better shut up. There are reports of 90. By the way, one of you guys brought this up in the chat room, so this is why I'm talking about it. 90% turnout voting on this.
That's astonishing.
Incredible. 4 million votes cast in Scotland, over 4 million.
And hopefully for independence.
No, unfortunately, so far, the polling, or the returns, I should say, the ballots are 58% no, 42% yes. So it's roughly, what, 2 in the morning over there?
You mean I?
No, 58. I 42. Yeah.
42 nay.
Jeez, Pete. Okay, so it looks as though Scotland, home of my ancestors, although England is too, home of my ancestors will remain part of the United Kingdom. I don't know. What do you guys think of that?
I, for one, applaud that. I think it's kind of nice to go through the exercise, but part of what makes the United Kingdom British is Scotland, and that.
Don't say that to a Scotsman.
No, I think they would agree. A lot of great British people and British actors come out of Scotland, and they consider themselves British. And I think that's.
Well, they're wrong.
Okay.
I'm gonna let that
I
go.
have never heard any Scotch actor claim themselves to be British.
Yeah, I think, absolutely. They're not claiming to be English. They're claiming to be British. British is kind of the United Kingdom whole thing, and I think a lot of them are what makes that whole set of isles one nation. There's the fact that they are the miniature little melting pot of dialect and cultures and such, and I think that it does improve the whole to have them all there. To have Scotland disappear,
well, it definitely improves England to have Scotland there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think all of them would
traveling through England and Scotland. They feel like different places.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Places,
but much like traveling from New York to South Carolina to Texas to California would too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that is fair.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
But I actually was in favor of Scotland's independence because one of the reasons that they've given is that they're tired of being kind of dragged down by British bureaucracy, and they're tired of basically having their entire existence determined by folks that are in the South, and I understand that mentality. And to borrow a great line, decisions are made by those who show up. So if a majority of people believe that it's better for them to stay in the United Kingdom, that's great. I just think it's awesome that they had the vote in the first place.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
I think it's a great exercise to go through. I think probably every state in the union here ought to go through it every now and then. But
California is going to go through it. It's on the ballot.
I had heard that had failed to get on the ballot.
Maybe it did. Last I heard, it had enough signatures to get on the ballot.
I saw just yesterday that it had failed. It's going to fail.
All right. Well, we'll check the interwebs.
But I will tell you, Gary, because I have watched that issue. It's gotten closer than it ever has before.
I mean, we certainly get that. I mean, if living in Northern California, you understand what Scotland's thinking of. The people in the South are always telling you what to do because most of the political power in California does sit with, down in the Los Angeles basin because that's where all the population is. So we sympathize with them. But it did fail to qualify. But I do think it's good, like you said, to put it to a vote, let the people decide. And by not getting enough signatures, Californians have said, nah, it's not worth voting on.
But you can certainly vouch for the fact that, and I haven't never visited there, but from everything that I've seen about that, Southern California is vastly different than not only Northern California, but even Middle California. It's just so different.
There are 3 different states here, no doubt.
Yeah.
At least 3.
And I don't think that
there's
any
no
other
better
state can say that.
For what they're feeling than the upstate New York, New York City. I mean, there isn't anything that can happen in New York State that if it's not approved by Manhattan, it doesn't happen. Right. Because 90% of the power is down there in the one little bit of landmass that doesn't even know that you can travel 8 hours and still be in New York State. Right. They have no idea. They think the state ends above just north of Yonkers.
When I was professional singing in New York for 6 years, and told them where I was from the Rochester area. Oh, so you're from the Midwest?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So anyway, it does look like the referendum is going to fail, and Scotland is going to remain part of England. So, I mean,
As a junior Anglophile, I would be sad if Scotland left.
Scotland is other than probably Alaska, maybe Alaska and maybe Hawaii. I've been to both places, but other than those two places, I think Scotland is one of the most amazing places on Earth.
It is pretty incredible.
It's unbelievable. That we took a trip to London and spent a few days there, and then spent about a week in Scotland. And we're much better for it that we took the Scotland second part of the trip, because we took a drive up and down the Highlands and over to the Isle of Skye. And I want to tell you, we would stop and take a look at this vista and look at each other and say, can you imagine, can you believe that we're even here? And then we'd keep going down and turn the corner, and there'd be an even more amazing view. It was unbelievable. Scotland's incredible.
Yeah, it's an amazing place. It's definitely somewhere to visit.
Yeah.
If Rob likes it, I'm moving.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm done.
And they love their beer up there.
Yeah, they do.
Nuclear Penguin is from Scotland, I believe.
But speaking of beer, Gary had a topic that he put up this afternoon about Stone Brewery and them trying to change the game a little bit.
Yeah, Stone, I guess it's been, I don't know, probably a month ago that they put up their Indiegogo fundraiser project, which they say is not a fundraiser, it's a pre-sale, because they are going to build a brewery in Germany. So Germany is, by all accounts, the birthplace of beer, right? That's, Germany, beer, they're kind of synonymous. And here comes this, upstart American craft brewery from Southern California going to set up shop in Germany with their own brewery there. So I thought that was interesting. Not the Indiegogo part. That's whatever. Fine. They're doing that as a pre-sale. It's that's a cool idea. But it's like $2.5 million through that Indiegogo to do their pre-sale and kind of get their thing started to build a brewery. But what's the more interesting part to me is that Stone is actually moving into Germany, and they're going to brew locally in Germany. And open up, a brew pub, a restaurant, like a farm-to-table restaurant. This consists of 3 buildings that were in an old gasworks plant. And they're going to have a brew house, a restaurant. And, the U.S. invading Germany in terms of our craft beer. I just thought that was interesting.
I think it's great that they're trying to make inroads into the European thing, but I struggle with this whole Indiegogo Kickstarter thing. I think that Indiegogo Kickstarters that's a great site, a great concept, but in my mind, I guess more of a purist sense, that it was really for the unknown, the common guy that was had a great idea or a great product that he was trying to market. And I'm not just picking on Stone here. There are huge companies that are now using Kickstarter and Indiegogo basically for crowdsourcing, fundraising, and mostly it's almost like free advertising. Well, not free, but very, very cheap advertising. And I just think it kind of goes against the sense of what...
I don't know. Indiegogo gets a percentage of that, right? That's how they fund the site.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, it's like I said, it's very cheap advertising, but it.
Let's say Indiegogo is 1%. Let's say Indiegogo is 1% of what Stone made. 1% of $1 million or $2.5 million is a lot of money.
No, I'm with you there. I understand. I'm talking about the folks that try to go to Indiegogo to have their little projects funded that they've done in their garage. And when there's only so much disposable income to go around, and these people like Stone Brewery or Nike or...
No, you're missing the point. Stone did this as a pre-sale. Stone could have done the pre-sale on their own and not been involved in Indiegogo or Kickstarter or any of these at all. They could have just put on their website, we're doing a pre-sale for these beers that we're doing. And they're all these collaboration brews that sounded amazing. So by them going to Indiegogo, what they're doing, and by Indiegogo getting a kickback from what Stone did, $2.5 million, Stone is helping fund Indiegogo, so all those people that are trying to do their things and those projects that don't get funded, that Indiegogo doesn't get money for, it still allows Indiegogo to survive and be a viable option for people.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
So to me, that's what Stone was doing. They just did it as a vehicle to do their pre-sale. They weren't really trying to do a Kickstarter type project. They just happened to kind of like the idea of Indiegogo and said, sure, we can use that tool to make our lives easier and also help sustain that type of crowdsourcing.
And it's just like the independent movie that goes around Hollywood by going to Kickstarter or Indiegogo to get their stuff done. This is a brew company that's going around. It's using Indiegogo to hit a bigger market than it would have done on its own site, but it could have done it on its own site all along. I don't have a problem with it at all. I think it's more interesting what Gary was getting at, which is the American craft beer revolution is now directly invading other countries. We've influenced quite a bit other countries, and they're all going through their own little craft beer revolutions. But a lot of them are doing it as the old-time beer companies that were there are starting to experiment more. There isn't nearly as much startup and brand new innovation happening in other companies. I keep saying companies, I mean countries, that I can see, at least from here in the States. So it's kind of interesting to take one of our top tier ones and literally go across the pond and plant a flag and establish something brand new back in the old world. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, to me that it really is. It's German beer. Traditional German beer, and that's what I think of when I think of German beers, is very different than American craft beer. And for a company, Stone is a big company. I mean, they're the 10th largest craft brewer in the United States. To move over there, I mean, that's a huge step. England, United Kingdom, somewhere in that area, they have a pretty good craft brewery culture. Probably not as big as what we have in America, but still they have some good craft brews. But Germany, I mean, to me, Germany is the traditional beer. So Stone going over there is kind of a big deal. I think. I don't know that we're going to realize it.
It has the potential to be a big deal. We'll have to see if the Germans embrace it. If the Germans embrace it, it's more than just a tourist trap for Americans traveling abroad. Then yes, you're right. It'll be a big deal.
I think it's more of a kind of like Lagunitas and Sierra Nevada setting up eastern United States brewing facilities. It's an easier way for them to distribute their beer. I mean, Stone could brew beer. They could set up a huge brewery in California and distribute their beer worldwide, but it's easier to brew it in the middle of Europe and distribute it to Europe.
Well, yeah, and beer is just so much better when it's fresh.
Yeah, so I mean, Germans may not embrace it. Germans may not embrace it, but if other markets in Europe embrace it, Stone's going to make money hand over fist with this.
Yeah. Okay, so before we go on to our Half Pints segment this evening, just a quick update on Scotland. Just when you get data and information, it often is incomplete. I delved a little quicker into the stats while you guys were talking about Stone, and as it turns out, only about 64,000 votes have been counted, and a lot of those coming from Clackmanshire, which is a small little place in the center of Scotland, and the Orkney and Shetland Islands, which are way, way, way up north. So all of the major metropolitan areas and mostly densely populated areas
totally unaccounted for.
Totally unaccounted for. So,
well, Scotland's only got like 5 million people.
I think it's closer to 10.
That's not even that's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah. So we may have called the race too early.
Well,
more votes to come.
It's definitely, you should wait for the rest of it to come in. But
I will tell you that they say that the city areas, the urban areas, are going to be much more in favor of independence because of the younger youth vote, and the youths were very much in favor of splitting. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
They have to rule themselves.
Yes.
That'll be attention.
Right. So before we go over an hour and arise Gary's ire, let's do our half pint segments this week.
I haven't had dinner yet. I'm hungry.
And okay, Gary, you can go last then while you eat. Oh no, you can go first. Why don't you go first? Gary's half pint is music. He likes music.
So you may have heard last week, I think Tuesday the 9th, there was a new album came out, and I wanted to use that as my half pint. And the album is called El Pintor from a band called Interpol. You thought I was talking about that U2 thing.
I did. I actually did, yeah.
Yeah. No, and actually it came out the same day. It just happened to be. It was a planned release. But Interpol's a band. They're kind of an indie band out of New York City. Very good. The new album is really good. I picked it up this week, and I've listened to it a few times, and I'm really, really enjoying it. So I would highly recommend it if you like kind of more of the modern independent rock. Very good. And actually, my daughter, the oldest one, won tickets on the radio to go see them Saturday over in Oakland at the Fox Theater. So we're going to see Interpol. Her and I are going.
And then the name is Interpol, like Interpol, but with 2 O's?
Interpol. No, that's like the, what a police agency over in Europe or whatever.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah. Just with 2 O's.
Gotcha. No, 1 O.
No,
1 O.
It's like Interpol, just Gary can't say it right.
Oh,
whatever.
Yeah,
Interpol. I mean, I thought they were like doing a play on it, but all right. So very cool.
I'm doing a play. Yeah. So
I agree. That's if you like Interpol, that's. The new one sounds like Interpol. It's really
good. If you like
good.
your music from international police agencies, this is the one. Yeah. What kind of music is it again?
It's kind of, I don't know.
It's rock, indie rock.
And it's like, it's indie rock.
If you have a choice between the new U2 or the new Interpol, take Interpol.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeremy, if you had a choice between a regular old QWERTY keyboard and a swipe keyboard, which would you pick?
I'm trying to pick swipe. So iOS 8 has come out, which introduces the ability for third-party developers to support new keyboards. My brother-in-law works for the company that developed Swipe, so I installed it immediately, and I'm trying to use it, but my muscle memory is working against me.
Yeah,
that was the thing I missed most about my Android.
It is a mental switch to be able to use a keyboard like that. Once you do it, you'll never go back.
It's awesome.
And I'm trying to use it. So if you are an Android fanboy and you miss your Swipe, you can now have Swipe. And I think right now it's on sale. I think it's 99 cents, and it will go up later.
That's awesome.
So grab it now.
But you have to have iOS 8. You have to have iOS 8 to do it, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. But even, I think as far back as a 4S will support iOS 8. So
yes, that's right.
Yep, no, that's what I have, so good.
So grab it, give it a try, see what you think.
Yeah, when I switched over to my iPhone, in which I love my iPhone, but that was the thing that I missed most was the swipe keyboard. So I'm glad to see that just made it awesome. All right, so Keith, do you have a pick?
I do.
What is your pick?
I do. I am picking iOS 8 as my pick.
Wow. Way to go with the little guy.
I have never. I've been an Apple. I've been an Apple guy forever. I've been using the iPhone since iPhone 4. That was my first one because that was the first one that showed up on Verizon, which at the time my company was locked into. So I've been using an iPhone since iPhone 4, and I have never had an iOS upgrade go as smoothly and nicely and quickly as the one to iOS 8. I have, with the exception of our soundboard app, which just crashed. I have not had any problems.
All evidence to the contrary.
Our audience may appreciate that.
Yeah, they may. I have not had any apps fail to work. I have not had any battery life issues. I have not had any connectivity issues. All these things are normal for when iOS gets updated, and everything is gone super smooth. In fact, I'm using it on an iPhone 5 right now, not a 5S, just a 5, and it is smooth as silk. In fact, I swear to God, it's faster. Typing
great.
on the keyboard even feels faster on the new Apple keyboard, and I haven't gotten into a swipe keyboard or anything else because I tried those back when I had Android, and I had the same problem you have, Jeremy. I could not make my mind work the way that swipe wanted it to work.
Oh man!
So I may come back and try it again now that I've got a little more reliable device to try it on. But I'm very pleased with the Apple keyboard.
So one cool thing about iOS 8, if you go to apple.com/privacy, Apple sounds like they're really committed to customer privacy in a way that is head and shoulders above any other company. And really, if you just go there, read that website. It's apple.com/privacy.
Yes.
You are not the product. The product is the product.
The federal government is not very happy with Apple right now.
No, that
Actually, I actually read an article about that today. The EFF had rated them 1 star out of 5, and after this new update, they rated them 5 out of 5 or 4 out of 5. So
that's really impressive. The EFF is not. They take privacy so seriously.
Yeah.
And to give Apple that rating is really a nod.
Mm-hmm.
And one of these days, I'll remember to just make EFF my pick, and
there you go.
You all donate.
Here's my secondary pick right there.
Get a bumper sticker.
Mr. Biggles.
Oh, the kitten.
We got a kitten.
The replacement child kitten.
The replacement child kitten. This is Leo.
Nice.
Okay, my pick for the week is Destiny. Keith and I both have picked up a copy of Destiny for the Xbox 360, and if you're not aware what Destiny is, it's a new game from Bungie, and those are the makers of Halo, the Halo series. And Destiny is kind of their stab at an MMO in many ways, like World of Warcraft or EverQuest or things of that nature. And it's got a lot of buzz, a lot of great pre-talk before it came out. But since it's come out, the reviews have been kind of tepid, mostly over kind of a hollow story and a bit of repetition. And I've played Destiny now. I'm up to level 5. I've played Destiny a few times now, and I will tell you that I know what they're talking about with this hollowness and this kind of shell of a game. But in my limited experience with MMOs, and Keith can probably talk about this because he's played many more hours of MMOs than I ever have, that I can see where they have this shell that they talk about, this hollowness, is basically a template for, I think, where they can take the game. They've got a lot of content that's going to constantly be feeding into this thing, new stories, new ways to go, different things to go. The game is beautiful, as Bungie can only make it. So I'm excited about it. I was in a hell of a firefight last night. It was really, really fun. So, Keith, I don't know if you have any thoughts about Destiny.
Well, I think a lot of people, and the reviewers especially, are treating this as any other shooter.
Exactly.
And, Halo and Battlefield and these games, they last, maybe 6 months tops? Mm-hmm. And then the next one comes out and they all fall off. Well, as an MMO, this thing's got a 5-year plus lifespan planned out for it with content updates and expansion packs and stuff. So I think it's possible that they rushed a little bit to get it out on time and left some stuff out, but I think that in the long term, this is going to be one of the great console and PC games of its time.
It sounds like they built a platform and sold it to you as a game, and then they're going to sell you add-ons to make it actually really fun.
You basically have
I think some of the add-ons are going to come for free, but yeah, they already have planned to download packs at $30 a pop. Yeah. So, yes, they plan on selling new stuff.
They give you there's little missions you can go on that you can do solo or you can do in groups of 3. It's called fire teams, and you can do little things and get experience points. And there's some loose story threads that are kind of woven in there. And then there's the great the multiplayer, which I haven't tried yet. But I mean, the game itself takes up more than 5 gigs on your hard drive.
Wow.
So there's a lot. They've put a lot into this game. It's not just a hollow shell with repetitive battles. Otherwise, there's no way it would take up that much room. Halo had a very cohesive story and lots of stuff in there. It didn't take up nearly that much. So there's a lot for them to build on. I know that they probably were prepared for this, and that it'll be a slow burn. So I look forward to it. I think it'll be fun.
I think in a year or two when we're going to look back and say, remember when we were level 3?
All right.
And there was nothing to do.
Yeah. You go to this tower, which is kind of a little social hangout.
Level 90.
And all these other players are walking by, and they're already like level 35 and 40, and here I am at my little 5.
That's because they don't have a job.
Yeah, these are all these college kids.
These are college kids and 11-year-olds.
So I picked Destiny, and that is going to wrap it up for the Pine of No Return show. And we certainly thank you all for listening. We appreciate everything you do for the show in terms of recommending it to your friends. If you haven't already, please do.
If you have any friends.
Yeah, you can find us on. You can find us on the YouTubes. You can find us on Stitcher. You can find us.
You can find us on iTunes.
iTunes now.
Finally, we are on iTunes,
We're
and
on iTunes.
there's a link in the show notes to the
episodes
iTunes
in, and we're on iTunes. So,
All right.
for God's sakes, please, if you're listening to the show, go to iTunes and give us a review or two, because we've got 28 shows worth of catching up to do.
And if you got
I'll
some
do that.
feedback, you could tell us like how you think the show is doing, what you'd like to see more of, what you'd like to see less of. We're definitely open to your criticism and your praise. And we also want to thank the Poxy Boggards for the use of their music, Stu Venable specifically. So thank you to them. PoxyBoggards.com, PoxyBoggards, or also on iTunes. So with that, we say good night.
Oh, sorry. I don't have my soundboard. iOS 8.
iOS 8, the greatest update ever in Apple history.
Unless you have a soundboard.
Right.
Unless you're running buttons.
Yes.
Crashes.
Thank you, iOS 8. Aaron Gopra!